What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 16 of the Creator Series here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today I welcomed another Florida artist. He's an R&B artist, pop artist. He does a lot of cross-genre stuff from what I've heard so far of his music. Goes by the name of Eli, E-L-Y. He reached out to me probably two and a half weeks ago. By the time the episode's out, it'll probably be 3 weeks. He reached out to me on Anchor, sent me a voice message. And he said, he heard the episode we did with D.Vair, another Florida artist, a few weeks ago. And he was like, he was really inspired by it and said he wanted to be on the show and kind of share his own story a little bit. So I was honored that, a listener reached out and everything. And he told me he was making music and everything. So I checked out his stuff and we made it happen this week. I had an opening, so got in touch with him. And he gave some information this week about kind of how his brother's been helping him. His brother's a producer, so his brother's been helping him kind of craft his sound and where he wants to go. He talked about his influences like Daniel Caesar, Frank Ocean, Travis Scott, a lot of different people that do the cross-genre thing. And he talked about kind of just taking a break from school at the moment to focus on his job and then also pursuing music as his full-time career. So I wish him a lot of luck in what he's trying to do. And like I said, I really appreciated him getting in touch with me and everything. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 16 of the Proven Knowledge Podcast, the Creator Series. Today we got another Florida artist. He's an R&B artist, singer, songwriter, and he's a good friend of D.Vair, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, and he goes by the name of Eli. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you doing?
Yes, awesome, man. Like I said before, thanks again for checking out the show and reaching out to be on today, and we're glad to have you here. So to begin, we kind of just have everyone give us a brief summary of how you got your name, how you got started in music, all the kind of background info that we might not know.
Right. So how did I get my name?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, Eli kind of derives from the term Elysian, which is, I guess, it's a synonym for heavenly. And my family is really religious,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just feel like that name just kind of fits my persona well, even though I'm not religious like that. But I just feel like my music is near heavenly. It's very soothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
it kind of just is describes kind of the style, you'd say, of your music.
Right.
Almost.
Like that liquid gold, soul, or slash pop.
I kind of hear it in just the songs I've heard from you so far. I know you only got a few songs out, and we're gonna get into that soon and everything. But I kind of see what that is, and I was kind of curious about it because I didn't think that was your real name, because when you sent me the message, it was another name and everything. So that's
right.
Pretty interesting though. So I know that the last few months have been pretty hectic for everyone as far as the pandemic and all this stuff goes. What do you think you've been doing to kind of get through that and stay as creative as possible?
Man, I just been, because my brother's a producer, so he makes trap beats and stuff,
Nice.
And he makes all types of beats, to be honest. He made the Love Your Type beat, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He's very versatile. So me and him just been, we'll stay up late night, just cooking up beats, writing music together. I just been going to the studio a lot, I actually been working a lot as well, just trying to keep myself productive. Yeah, we're always, cooking up something, just trying to produce and be creative together.
Nice. So you'd say it hasn't been too much of a change. You've just kind of been trying to stay busy, kind of, right?
Yeah, as much as possible.
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of what a lot of people have been doing, and I've said it on previous episodes. It's just you kind of got to try to find ways to just stay as busy as possible and just be productive. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you don't want to sit and have an idle mind, because that's kind of
right.
where things get kind of rough for you. And I know a lot of people deal with depression and anxiety and a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the last few months with people not having jobs, not having a lot of income, even the creative people, it's been a struggle. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
good to hear from my guess that they're doing at least enough to stay kind of, I don't know, as normal as possible during such a crazy time. And we don't really know, when all this is going to kind of go away or if it will ever go away. So I think it's just
Right.
important.
I feel like. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like if you wait too long, like, that creative spirit is just gonna, like, not die out, but it's gonna be very dumbed down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you always gotta keep up the pace and, like, keep your mind active so you could, always think of new things.
I think too, like, it's important to act on the ideas when you have them. Like, if you have a great idea, you should put that in motion quickly because you're gonna end up forgetting that idea anyway. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
like, you don't wanna take that great idea and just put it somewhere else, and then you end up putting it off and kind of like procrastinating, and then you never even act on what you wanted to do. So I totally agree with that, though. Like, you just gotta put it in motion right away. So you said you have your brother who's a producer and he's been helping you out a lot. Do you have anyone else that's so far been helping you, maybe like a graphic designer, videographer, anyone else? Or are you kind of doing a lot of the stuff on your own?
Definitely my most help has been my brother. I worked with a couple engineers. I don't know if you know them. One of them is Real Rands. He really, like, helped me step up the plate to, like, bring my creative voice out. Just a bunch of engineers, to be honest, that made me get, like, comfortable with the mic. Because when I first started out, I was very, how do I say it? I was just very new, like, shy, kind of. And, like, they kind of helped me train my voice to become more confident in my voice and, like, bring out that real me. So, yeah.
I know, like, it's always so important to have the people that kind of get familiar with your sound and everything, and they can kind of, like, give you good advice. And especially, like you said, you hadn't been, like, doing music before, and you probably found people that had been doing music for a while, and they were able to kind of, like, guide you in the right direction as far as, like, what you were trying to do as an artist and everything. And that's, like, so important. And I think as long as you continue that relationship with those people, I think you're going to just grow and things are only going to get better, you know what I mean? So that's awesome.
I don't know if you heard the Life We Live song. Have you heard?
I'm not sure if I heard that one. I heard the new song that's the full one I've heard. And then I saw you had a song with D.Vair. Is that the one with him, or is that another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the one.
I still got to check out the full thing, but
yeah,
I was on
that one. I was thinking about, because I know you said the videographer.
Yeah.
Because me and him are trying to find like a good videographer so we can shoot a music video for that. Because I feel like that song is very meaningful. It's basically about racism and injustice, like, in this country, stuff like that. So I just feel like that'll have a really good message to, like, display in a music video. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So speaking of a message in music, how important do you think it is kind of during a time like this where a lot of, like, light is being shed on the injustice thing? How important do you think it is to have music that kind of reflects what is happening now? I know I've seen a lot of artists come out with projects and songs that directly relate to that. So how do you think you want to kind of embody that in what you're doing?
I just feel like because music is so, it doesn't matter if you're racist, it doesn't matter if you're not racist, it doesn't matter if you're a kid, it doesn't matter if you're an adult, an old person. Music always resonates to the ear. So once you hear those lyrics, like, go in and out your ear, like, it's even if you don't agree with it, like, you're still gonna think about it, like, the next day. Like, I just feel like music is so, like, inspiring. Like it's very important to implement, like, messages in music, because it just resonates with the person's mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think too, like, that's why they call it the universal language. You know what I mean? Like, they've always referred to music as, like, something that everyone relates to in some way, shape, or form. Like, and it expresses, to me, it's always expressed the emotions that, like, you can't really put in words. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to put it in a song. And I think, like, things that are happening now, it's just very good to see everyone kind of speaking up more about these types of things. And so I like when I see artists put that in what they're doing and kind of give their own version of the story to their listeners and everything. And it also shows to me that, like, they're paying attention to what's happening in the world. You know, they're actually connected to everyone else and the struggles of everyone else and all the people. So I think that's always something that is important. Even if like they might not make music like that all the time, they might make, more like laid back music. I think it's important to talk about the things that, you might not always want to talk about, just to give people that awareness. So, but that's always something that I've admired from people. What do you think so far has been kind of a great piece of advice you've been given as far as your music career or just maybe in life in general? What do you think is something you'd want to share that has helped you out a lot in the past few years?
And there's one thing that my dad told me one time, which was like a few years back. It was after like quit the track team because I used to be a pretty good runner, and he told me, "Don't ever." What was it? I think he was like, "If you have a talent, don't waste it." So I feel like I personally believe, and people have told me that that I can sing like in the past. So I feel like like I've always been very like into music, like like versatile music. So I feel like I should like pursue it, and I love making music. Like it's not like something I make music for money, like, or I'm trying to get to the top. Like I actually love like genuinely in love making music. So yeah, I feel like that's one thing that I learned. Like don't ever procrastinate. Like if you have a talent, like always chase it, or like if you have like a passion, always chase it.
I think that's like you just said. Like it's not just about the money all the time. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of taught from an early age, like you got to get a great job, you got to be able to provide and do all these things, and like I think it's important too. You gotta realize what aligns with your values. You know what I mean? Like you can make money doing a ton of stuff, especially with the internet now. Like money can come in a lot of different ways. So I think it's more important than ever to just realize what makes you happy. You know what I mean? And like for you, like you just said, you realized that was your passion, and that's what makes you fulfilled. And you're trying to pursue it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, and you just, as long as you have that understanding that it's going to take time and to really grow it out and make it what you want to make it, then I think you'll be perfect. But I think that's always great advice to give someone is just you have to have the drive and the passion for what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, so you're talking about kind of like combining musical styles. Who do you think are your biggest inspirations in music that have influenced how you create your own material?
It's a very good question. Let's see. Musically or just anyone?
It could be anyone, honestly. Anyone that just inspires your music. So.
Okay. My favorite singer definitely inspired me like the most to make R&B. Daniel Caesar.
He's dope.
Frank Ocean. Yeah, he's super dope. Super dope. Frank Ocean. It's to be honest, it's kind of recent artists. I used to listen to a lot of rock when I was young, but like they didn't really. I mean, they kind of inspired me to play, like practice the guitar and stuff. But also Brandon Fayaz. I gotta say, Travis Scott. Like they're all very like they're very versatile, and like I like their melodic voices. I just really appreciate like music like that. That's like soothing and like real. Like they speak real stuff.
I know, like I listen to Travis a lot, so I can kind of hear like that. Like he combines, like the melodies with the rapping and the trap beats and stuff, and he gets very like experimental with it. And he's always combined. He's always done like weird collabs. Like he worked with like Tame Impala, and he worked with like Kid Cudi, and then he'll go work with, trying to think of who else, like Bon Iver, you know what I mean? Like, so he's not afraid to like go to the places where a lot of like his peers don't go. So that's kind of why I think I've always like looked at him as someone who like has pushed the boundaries, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he really sacrificed like a lot to get to that point. Like if you like look at his story, like the way he came up is like it's kind of crazy. Like he like ran away from home, and then he was hopping houses. Like that's talent, bro. That's real dedication and talent right there.
And even like Frank too. Like I don't listen to Frank much, but I'm obviously like I have respect for his work and everything, and I've seen how he's evolved too. Like, he went from being the guy that was like underground, and then he was on Watch the Throne, and then he did Channel Orange and just took off, you know what I mean? And then Blonde, and now people are waiting on what he's working on next, and like it's been dope to see him grow too as an artist, and he's just become such a huge person. But I definitely hear, like, from what I've heard from your music, I can hear how those kind of influences are in there. So that's awesome. Do you have any?
That's good.
Do you have any dream collaborations other than those people that you could think of? Maybe someone you'd want to do a song with one day?
To be honest, probably those people. And maybe I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. Is Tame Impala or Tame Impala?
Yeah, Tame Impala. Yeah. I mean, either way, it's good. We get what you mean.
Yeah, him, like, he's definitely like one of those influences, kind of, too, like his like melodicness.
Yeah.
Man, who else? I think that's like off the top of my head, to be honest.
I mean, that's pretty
Those
good.
people.
That's pretty good. And like, if they're your influences, I'd say like there's nothing wrong with having them be someone you would want to work with one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a dreamy thing right there, bro.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. So, what do you think, other than, I know we have social media nowadays, and that's obviously a huge thing that helps artists. Is there anything else that you've been trying to kind of get your voice out and let people know, like, about your music, or is social media still the main way that you're trying to do things right now?
Yeah, especially with this whole COVID thing. Man, like, the most you can do is either spread it out on social media, tell people in person. You can't even do shows, so there's no networking like that. I mean, like, you can do like little mini shows, but it's like it's very limited. So it's like it's really hard for independent artists right now. Like, you just gotta grind as much as you can. To be honest,
it's really such like a tough spot to be in for everyone, because so many people, especially like the money thing, like people are used to getting paid from doing their shows and stuff, and like you said, networking events, like you meet so many people at those networking events, and now you don't have that, so you really gotta just go DM, email, do all this other stuff, and like, I don't know, it's kind of gonna be interesting to see in the next like year or two where that goes. And I know people are already starting to come up with more like creative ways to push their stuff, and independent artists are coming up with new creative ideas to like promote their projects and things. I'm just curious to see like how that all turns around in the next couple of years, if it comes back the way it was or if it's just totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
And people have been doing like online concerts, like it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've heard that they're starting to figure out how to like charge for that to make it like more of a real thing. So like you would have to pay admission as a fan to be in the virtual concert, which I don't know how that's going to work, but that's kind of an interesting concept. Like, because I know people have been doing the IG lives, and like there's these versus battles and things that are very popular, but like I wonder how they could like monetize that and make that work for like an independent artist, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you wanted to have a show, like how could you put that in play to make that work? I don't know. But
it's like it's kind of like risky, because like, you don't know, like people are like not as influenced to do that, like as in to go in person and you know, see them live. Like that's the whole point. So it's like it's kind of like it's crazy.
But yeah, like you were saying, it's just like the whole point of like concerts was to kind of be in person with, like, feel the energy, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lack of energy when when you're not with others. But if that's what it's headed toward, then I guess we just have to kind of adapt and move in that way then. So it'll be interesting though. So I know, like, I'd say R&B is one of like your primary genres maybe that you're into. What do you think? Where do you think R&B is kind of heading nowadays? I know like it's kind of revitalized in the past few years and kind of adapted to a new generation. Do you think like R&B is making a comeback, or do you think it never really left and it kind of just evolved? Like, what is your opinion on the genre as a whole, you think?
I feel like recently, I don't know if I've just been out of the loop, but I just feel like recently R&B has been kind of kicking back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like all these like I can name so many. Sabrina Claudio, Brent Fayez, like Daniel Caesar, Frank Ocean. Like I feel like they kind of brought even Tory Lanez, Summer Walker,
Mm-hmm.
like all these people. They kind of bring back that golden like R&B. Cause even though I know Jacquees has been doing it for like this whole time, even though everyone was rapping, like when the whole mumble rap thing was like so big, but I feel like recently R&B has been like really coming back. I just feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good to see because like I don't know if I was getting tired of just like the trap and just that being like the main thing, but I like now in the past couple years it feels like a lot of people have been just kind of going cross like genre with it. Like you'll have R&B artists that are on like more trap production with like these very melodic like musical elements. So it's just cool to see people kind of like changing it up. And then there's more traditional R&B too that sounds more like 90s R&B. And there's people doing that in a new way. So
Exactly. Like, for example, Brent Fayez, he does that so well. Like he mixes that recent and that old school like sound. Like it's really cool.
I still got to check out his new album because I heard a lot of people talking about that, like how good it was and everything. So I
Yeah,
really
you
gotta
should definitely.
I gotta sit down and listen to it. And I know like people have been talking about him all year as like one of like the breakout artists of the year. So I eventually gotta dig into his stuff. Um, so far in your career, have you struggled with being able to manage the time you're making music with like your everyday life? Has there been any issues with time management, or are you able to kind of do that normally and kind of do it in a healthy way?
Good question. I work like full time right now, so I kind of try to fit it in like late nights. With my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and I just got to find an off date. Just to go to the studio, cook up some stuff. Even write music. Like even writing music could take hours. Like even it could take weeks, like hours to weeks. So I'm very conscious about like what I write on paper and what I'm gonna put in my songs. So like yeah, I try to find time. Like I sacrifice certain like things to make music though. Like like working out stuff. Like keeping myself like fit and stuff. Like I would literally like sacrifice that just to like make some music. Like so, yeah.
I know like everyone's situations are always different, and I've had different like answers to the question. So, but to hear that you work like full time and are still able to do music, that's pretty impressive. Because I know like you still gotta fit like sleep in there. You gotta fit like other things in there too, and like I think it's important too not to neglect like your health. You know what I mean? Like I've heard that a lot of people work so much, not just in like music, but in their jobs and stuff. They almost work themselves into the ground. You know what I mean? Like you got to still make sure you're getting enough sleep, you're getting enough hydration, those types of things, so you can actually get the job done right instead of just constantly working and just like you might end up in the hospital. Like I've heard people that pull all nighters and then they end up in the hospital because they have sleep like deprivation. You know what I mean?
Deprivation,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
it's good.
It's good to hear like yourself though that you have like a good kind of flow going at least for now, and like your schedule might change too. Like as the years go by, like things might change. You might have to adapt certain things, but it's good to hear that you have kind of a healthy like thing going on. So as far as the financial aspect of music, so far, is there any problems you've encountered with like trying to figure out where to put your money? Like, do you put your money in promotion? Do you put your money into the artwork and the videos? Do you put your money in mixing and mastering? Is there anything that you've encountered that's been an issue?
I definitely put money into most of those things, but money, not really, because I'm pretty consistent with my job, so I feel like, I just feel like it's worth it. Like every dime is worth it. Like if it's gonna make my artist profile look good, I just feel like it's worth it because at the end of the day, like people are gonna appreciate what you're putting out and what you're giving them. So that's the whole point. Like you want top quality stuff. So I just feel like if I put my money into mixing mastering, like as long as it sounds good, like you know what, like let's get it done. Like if I put my money into art, like I just feel like if it looks good, like with the song, if it matches the aesthetic, like I'll pay for it. Like as long as it looks good.
That to me is like the most important thing is just investing in yourself. You know what I mean? Like I think some people just think like it can all just happen without having to put the money in the right things. But I think that's what it is just putting the money into the right things and not the things that aren't going to do anything for you. You know what I mean? I think like even myself, I had to learn like the first few years is just, it's going to cost something. You know what I mean? It could be a small amount or a big amount, but it just has to be right for what you're trying to do. So you just got to learn what you're trying to accomplish with either the project you're putting out, or if you're trying to do like, so let's say like merch, for example, like you should always make sure you're investing in the right things to make that happen if that's what you're trying to do. So, and like for music, I feel just looking at other like creative endeavors, like for example, my brother's a photographer, and I know that he spends like a lot more money on his equipment than I would have spent on mine. You know what I mean? Like he was telling me like a couple months ago, like one of the lenses he was looking at was like $5,000 for a lens. You know what I mean?
Oh wow!
And then like you look at like a keyboard over here is like a few $100. So it's not even on the same like level of financial. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
that's like something you got to work up to. Yeah. Like that's crazy.
So just putting that in perspective and knowing that we don't have it probably as bad as far as like having to go out and get gear, like put money in promotion as like some other endeavors do. I think you just have to figure out what you're trying to do and put the right amount into what you're aiming for. So,
right.
So only got a few more questions here for you. If you could go back 10 years and talk to your past self, maybe give yourself advice, what do you think you would tell yourself, or would you not change anything?
I would definitely tell myself, don't procrastinate. And I would tell myself each opportunity that you miss out on is like a street light. And there's actually a song called Street Lights by Kanye West.
Yes, I'm familiar.
And I just feel like that song is so like real. Like the message that song implements, like or like portrays. I would tell myself that do not procrastinate. Like if you see opportunity, like take it. Like I know it seems scary sometimes, but you just gotta take chances because you're not gonna get anywhere if you don't leap. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely tell myself that.
Nice. So if we could go 10 years into the future, where do you think you want to be in your career or in your life or both?
Hopefully I'm a full-time artist successfully. Let's see, just living comfortably, just doing what I want to do, what I love, which is making music. That's like my dream pretty much. I actually I don't really have a second, what's that word? Not choice, like option, I guess. Like,
plan B.
Some people have plan. Yeah. I don't really have a second plan right now. Like, I'm going to college, but it's kind of on hold because I want to focus on like working and doing this music stuff. So yeah, like I just feel like that would be great. Like if I be a full-time artist.
Nice. So I know you just dropped a single. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but also talk about what music you're working on. Do you have a project coming out? Anything you got in the works?
The most I have coming out right now is that Life We Live music video. And I actually have a Caribbean song coming out because I'm Jamaican. So I kind of have that little flavor with me. It's called Cat Call. I'm working on that with my brother. It's gonna be really nice.
Nice.
So,
well,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing it, man. Because, like I said, just hearing the new single and hearing some snippets of some of the other stuff, I think you got a lot of potential. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
So I know you're on like Instagram and Twitter. Do you want to give like your social media? Tell where people can find you at. Yes,
it's going to be Saving Eli. At Saving Eli is going to be SAVING Ingley. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put those in the YouTube bio and all that stuff, so everyone has them. Do you have any final words of wisdom today?
All I gotta say is, regular stuff. Just keep pushing. Check out my music. I Eli on Apple Music, Spotify, all that stuff. My new single, "Love Your Type," is out. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome, man. Well, again, like I said, I appreciate you getting in touch with me about being on the show. I appreciate the support, and I'm wishing you luck on everything you got going. Like I said, you got a lot of potential, man, and I think, your head's already in the right space and everything. So, and hopefully we can do this again sometime, maybe in person. I don't know, maybe down the road after this whole COVID thing blows over. So, thanks, man.
That'd be great, bro.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode number 16. We'll be back next week. I did want to say real quick, I've recently added via the Anchor app a support button. So now on, I believe, any of the podcast platforms, you can click the support button for the podcast. You can donate an amount, like a cent amount, a dollar amount, whatever you want to donate. I know that obviously the community right now isn't that big for this podcast, but I think we're only going to be growing. So if you believe in what we're doing here, you want to support a little bit, feel free to hit that button and give us some funds. Maybe we can do something with that. And like I said, that's all going to go toward pushing the content further, and hopefully we can do more for you guys in the future. But I really appreciate everyone who's already here, and I look forward to this growing community. And until next week, we will see you then.